Hey guys, Gemma from ASD Rocks, and super stressed out today. So today we have our capacity report with Beau and an occupational therapist. What does that mean? So basically in Australia, we have what's called the NDIS, which is the National Disability Insurance Scheme. They changed it to the NDIA because it did end up being just an absolute scheme, and stupid things happened, really stupid things happened. Like the guy they got to advertise it on TV. Hey, we're starting this scheme, it's going to be amazing. They got this disabled guy and then they rejected him for their own scheme. So you have to go through the most ridiculous hoops. They have you jumping through hoops. Now, I've been doing this for 17 years. Beau originally had what was called FAXIA, which was an amazing funding for autistic kids and people. They basically gave you an amount of money that was for funding for speech therapy, occupational therapy, any particular things that you needed, but it was within autism only. Then FAXIA changed to HCA, which was helping children with autism. Then HCA shut down and everything got taken over by the NDIA. They got rid of the scheme and put National Disability Insurance Agency or Association or some bullshit. So I became the paper queen. The paperwork queen. From when Beau was diagnosed, I had to fill out 100 different things. He went to Southern Autistic School. There was no doubt that the kid had autism. Birth certificates, speech therapy reports, occupational therapy reports, blah, blah, blah. Tick, 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 right, here's your funding. You couldn't use it for buying, alcohol or anything. It was a signed thing. You didn't get any funds yourself. It was only for the right things. Then HCA, same thing. Tick, tick, tick. Oh, we've changed over now. You have to refill out all of your paperwork. You have to redo it. Right. Tick, 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 tick. Did it. Takes months. Have to get new reports. Have to get everything. Costs money to get yourself funded. Then the government took it over and said, we are going to look at disability as one big thing. So it doesn't matter whether you have, whether you're visually impaired, hearing impaired, autistic, quadriplegic, there's so many. So it all came under one thing. Well, the problem with that is that nobody really has any concept whatsoever, who's actually dealing with the NDIA, of what is required to look after and give an autistic kid or a kid with autism, for those of you out there starting to jump up and down now, what they need, because they have no idea. Because when it was run just for autistic people, the people on the phones, the stories were the same. They knew they needed speech therapy, all this stuff. So you might have seen along my journey, I have had an extremely difficult time. First, they put the wrong paperwork in. So we started, 4 years ago now, we started this paperwork. 4 years. I want you to just process that for 1 second. It's taken us 4 years and we still don't have the right funding. So they put in the wrong paperwork. They put Beau in for early intervention, which he got rejected for because he's too old for early intervention. Of course he is. He's already had early intervention. Early intervention only goes up in Australia to really the age 7. So, him being at the time 12 or 13 when we started with the NDIS, of course he was rejected. But it took them 6 months to tell me that he was rejected. And I didn't know why he was rejected. I couldn't understand it. Anyway, finally, after fighting that and putting in an appeal, we got funded. But we got funded for all the wrong things. Anyway, we put in, so I've learned a whole new language. I feel like what it must feel like to be Beau. My heart breaks for him because, you know, I always refer to our kids who are struggling with communication issues as, you know, English is a second language, even though it's not, even though English is their first language. Really, they process it in the same way that someone does with English as a second language. So it takes some time to sort of convert the words that we use into the words that they understand. And then it takes some time to convert the words that they understand out of their mouth into the words that we use. And it is exactly like that with the NDIA. It is appalling. So I got what's called an LAC, which is a local area coordinator, which is basically as useless as mammary glands on a bull. They can do nothing for you, honestly. They are basically put there as a buffer so that you cannot reach anybody within the NDIS. So if you've got a problem, you have to call your LAC. Then your LAC needs to put through a report that then goes to the National Disability Fund. So you cannot contact the NDIS directly. Now, we put in for a review, and we had a review, and then they decided to accept us into the NDIA. Then they gave us the most pitiful funding you've ever seen in your life, $2,000 for a year, to help Beau learn how to dress, learn how to shower, learn how to do all of these things that he needs to do, learn how to go outside and cross the road. So all of this stuff he needs to do without me. He needs to learn how to do these things independently. He's coming on 17 years old. He really needs to be able to use public transport, know how to speak to someone if he gets into trouble, all of those sorts of things. And $2,000 for a year does not fund that. So we put in an appeal of the appeal. Seriously, it is a joke. So you can understand why we're coming on our 4th year. Now, out of the funding that I got, whether Beau needs it or not, he has to have a certain amount of that money dedicated to occupational therapy. Okay, we've been doing occupational therapy for years. I could become an occupational therapist tomorrow. So I have to spend a certain amount of money from what I've been given, not on the things that Beau needs, but on occupational therapy, which is driving me insane. So today, we have someone coming around to do, an occupational therapist, to do what's called a capacity report. Now, a capacity report is insanely important in this process. If they don't come up with, if they're not on our team and, you know, they don't come up with the same alignment as where we want Beau to go, the funding is going to reflect that. Now, this is a completely private company, so it's not associated with the NDIS. Yes, it's funded by the NDIS, but it's not, they're a private company. So today is extremely stressful. So extremely stressful. Finn is on crutches. I have to pick him up after school. Not after school, after lunch, because he can't do sport. I have to get myself to the physio because of the extreme pain in my neck and shoulder. I have to go and pick up my pain pills. I have to get home and I have to prepare Beau for this capacity report. And I have no idea how it goes. And everything hangs on this capacity report. Like, if we are able to put in, so we've already put in an appeal of the appeal, so now we can't put in another appeal. It's better to put in a change of circumstance. Now the change of circumstance will be that we now have new evidence. Now I spent $4,000 on reports from psychiatrists, speech therapists, GPs, occupational therapists, you name it. Like I only got $2,000 for the year. So I'm actually $2,000 in debt because of the NDIS. When I decide to put in this capacity report, I'm going to have to get all new funding again. No, sorry, all new reports again. So it's going to cost me another $4,000 because they won't accept if it's a new circumstances, evidence of new, change of circumstances. It's saying, oh, our circumstances have changed. What is that? Well, now we have this capacity report that says Beau does need the help to do this, this, and this to become independent, live independently. It is only fair that he learns how to do this stuff independently, not with Dad helping him, not with me helping him, but on his own. And in fact, with someone else helping him so that he becomes less and less dependent on us. As a kid heading towards the age of 18, he deserves that, and I have to fight for that. The terrifying thing is that I don't know how this capacity report is going to turn out. It's really going to just depend on who turns up. So it's super scary. I'm going to let you know how it goes at the end of it, and we will just see. Fingers crossed for ASD rocks.